The man I married for money took a bullet for me in my father's study, dropped in front of a vault full of proof that I wasn't who I thought I was. The woman who pulled the trigger used to be my best friend. So tell me this. If someone stole your name, your future, and 3 years of your life, how kind are you supposed to be? My name is Daphne Hampton, but for 3 years everyone called me Jasmine Carter, the one-eyed fish girl from West Side Market. Let me start where you met me, not where I was born. West Side Market, Atlanta. Morning heat already pushing through the concrete smell of grease onions, diesel, cheap perfume. Somebody blasting old R&B from a Bluetooth speaker that had seen better days. I was in my usual spot in Carter's fish fry t-shirt, hands cold and slick from ice and fish, left eye sealed with a jagged scar, right eye doing all the work. Knife in my hand, blade moving easy, like it had always belonged there. For 3 years, that stall was my whole world. Thomas and Louise Carter had pulled me off the sidewalk outside a hospital with no ID, cracked skull, no memory bills they couldn't afford and still paid anyway. When I woke up, all I had was a scar, headaches, and a stranger's voice echoing in the back of my mind. You're from the fish village, honey. You sell fish. That's all you need to remember. You wake up empty like that. You'll be surprised what kind of story you'll accept just to feel like a person. So I learned to gut, catfish, haggle with aunties, laugh with other vendors, ignore the stares. People saw the scar and assumed there was a sad story. They were right. Wrong story, though. That morning I was halfway through butterflying a fat catfish when I felt someone step into my space. Close. Too close. We're not open yet, I said without turning around. Come back in 20. I really need your help, a man's voice said low, tight. I turned ready to tell some dude to move and froze. Tall, broad shoulders, clean fade, white t-shirt that looked like it had its own security detail, jeans that didn't come from any place I shopped. Dark skin, sharp jaw, and eyes that hit me like a flashbang. It wasn't his looks, though. Yeah, he was stupid, handsome. It was that deep, wrong, right feeling in my chest, like my body leaned forward, whispering, "Oh, there you are," while my brain went, "We have never seen this man before in our life." We just stared at each other a second too long. "Did I invite you behind my counter?" I asked, knife still in my hand. He cut a look over his shoulder. Out in the lot, 3 black SUVs had rolled in, men in suits fanning out, scanning faces. Not cops. 2 put together. 2 entitled. "No," he said, "but if those guys see me, this day's gonna get real complicated." "You running from the law?" I asked. "Worse," he said, completely serious, "my mother." Pattern interrupt. I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. He spilled it fast. "Name Greg Daniels." "Yes, that Daniels. Real estate, money magazines, all that." His mom had a whole roster of suitable daughters lined up, and today she'd literally dispatched a security team to drag him to a brunch date. I was half convinced he was insane, half hypnotized by that feeling I couldn't place. One of the suits came over. "Ma'am, you seen a tall guy, mid-30s, expensive clothes, came running through here." I looked at Greg. He stood there waiting to see if I would sell him out to the highest bidder. I don't like bullies. I don't like people who walk into other folks' workplaces like they own them. That was all I needed. "Yeah," I said, nodding toward the far side of the market. "He sprinted that way, looked like y'all put the fear of God in him." "They ran." Greg exhaled. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," I said, folding my arms, knife still visible. "You just brought a bunch of armed men to my stall, so now you talk." We went back and forth. I poke, he answers. He jokes about arranged marriages like it's the 1800s. Then his hand shakes when he runs it over his face, and I realize it's not a bit. He keeps sneaking these looks at me. Not flinching from the scar, not pitying, just searching, like trying to remember a dream. "How long you been doing this?" he asks, watching me carve. 3 years, I tell him. "You're really good," he says, and it's not some line. That grip, that pressure, you cut like you trained for it. And just like that, something stabs behind my forehead. Bright lights, sterile air, gloved hands, someone's voice in my ear. Steady hands, steady heart, then gone. "You okay?" he asks. "I'm fine." I lie and change the subject. What I don't tell him 3 years ago, I woke up out of a coma with nothing. No name, no family, no history. Just that voice at the bus stop telling me I'm a fish seller from the village and disappearing before my vision clears. The Carters took me in, called me Jasmine, gave me their last name and a job. When you're drowning in confusion, being told this is your place can feel like rescue even if it's another kind of cage. Greg insists on buying fish he clearly hates. Hands me a black metal credit card that probably has its own offshore account. I tell him it's on the house. "You helped me," I say, "we're even." He walks off, leaves the card on my counter. On purpose. I clock it late. After work, I sit in the tiny Carter kitchen staring at that card. Thomas's hospital bills over $300K. Louise's joints shot. DeAndre shelving boxes at a warehouse instead of campus. I could swipe once, clear all of it. He'd barely notice. The devil in that card is loud. If it were you, what would you have done? I put it in my pocket instead, letters on the front catching the light, Gregory Daniels. Next morning, I take 2 buses downtown to return it. Daniels Corporation is all glass, marble, cold air, and quiet money. Everyone looks like a LinkedIn ad. The receptionist looks at me like I came in through the wrong door. "I'm here to return Mr. Daniels' card," I say. "You can leave it." She says that slow, condescending tone that makes you want to flip a table. "Actually," I say, leaning in, "he gave me special delivery instructions." She is about to shut that down when a slim guy in a dark suit appears. Kenneth. Cool eyes, polite smile. "This is Miss Carter from West Side Market." He says like he's been waiting for me. "Mr. Daniels asked me to bring her up." Upstairs, Greg is a whole different creature. Custom suit skyline behind him, but the smile when he sees me is the same as the market, just brighter. "You came," he says. "You forgot something," I say, holding up the card. "I left it," he says. "I wanted to see if you'd bring it back." He had me background checked between sunrise and lunch. He knows about the Carters, the bills, the missing years. Instead of playing power games, he sits there honest about it. Says my integrity impressed him. Says he has a problem I might be able to solve. "Marry me," he says. I laugh in his face. "Try again." He doesn't flinch. "Not like that. 6 months. On paper. You be my wife," my mother backs off. The board stops breathing down my neck about legacy. "In return, I pay off all your family's debt plus $500K a month to you. No touching you don't agree to. Separate rooms. Your family knows it's a deal. When it's over, you walk with enough to rewrite your whole life." Pattern interrupt. I swear to you, my first thought was, this man is insane. My second thought was my dad's pill bottles, my mom's swollen ankles, my brother's tired eyes. So I lay down terms. Full honesty with my family. My exit any time. No weird stuff. And one more thing, answer this right now. When you saw me at the market, did it feel like you'd met me before? Typing bubbles on his phone. Then, yes, I have no idea why, it's been driving me crazy. I text back, "Okay, I'll marry you." Yeah, that happened. Next morning, we are at the courthouse under fluorescent lights that make everybody look guilty. I wear my best white sundress, the one with only 2 stains. He looks like a magazine cover in navy. Kenneth hands us papers. The judge drones the speech. It takes 8 minutes. "You may kiss the bride." "It's just for show," Greg whispers like he's reminding both of us. He leans in. His lips barely touch mine, and something inside me detonates. Flash ambulance blood, his younger face pale as chalk eyes trying to close my gloved hands, opening his abdomen, my voice steady. "Stay with me, Greg." His fingers gripping mine. "If you leave, I'm haunting you." My laugh through the mask. "Then don't give me a reason." I yank back, heart racing. He's staring at me. We're 2 strangers with a shared nightmare neither of us understands. On paper, we walk out husband and wife. In reality, we'd just kicked a door open we didn't know existed. He sends stylists and a full glam squad to my family's tiny apartment to prep me for his mother's gala. Louise cries. Thomas frowns. DeAndre calls it a scam. I tell them the truth. It's a contract we get out of debt. I stay safe. Thomas says, we didn't pull you off the ground for you to sell yourself. But he also says, we can't live your life for you. They let me choose. I choose chaos. By 7 p.m., I look like somebody who belongs on a billboard. Emerald dress hugging my curves, necklace simple. My scar uncovered hair pinned up in a way that says, expensive, even though someone else paid for it. I barely recognize myself. Red carpet, cameras, reporters. Who are you? How did you meet Greg? Is it true you're from a fish market? What happened to your eye? My hand twitches up. Greg catches it. Don't hide, he murmurs just for me. Louder for them. This is my wife, Jasmine. That's all the comment you get. Inside, it's chandeliers, string quartet, rich people doing that low laugh like everything they say matters. Then comes Greg's mother, Patricia. Tall, perfect, lethal. You got married without me, she hisses to a fish seller. Yes, ma'am, I say, meeting her eyes. Best catfish in the city. He married me for his freedom. I married him for my family's survival. At least we're honest. Her face does something I can't describe without swearing. The room goes quiet. And then Greg's grandfather, Malcolm, steps up, warm eyes, soft smile. Welcome to the family, he says, and I almost lose it right there. Pattern interrupt, then I see her. Red dress, dark hair, eyes locked on me like I'm a ghost. Her wine glass slips, shatters red, spilling across the marble like blood. Who's that? I whisper. That's Jane, Greg says, Dr. Jane Williams, my cousin Brandon's fiancée. The name swipes at something in my skull. Pain slams through my head so hard I grab Greg's arm. Jasmine, you okay? I'm fine. I lie again. We don't get time to unpack it. Because 10 minutes later, Malcolm goes down. 1 second he's laughing. Next second he's clutching his throat, turning purple, collapsing. People scream. Patricia is shaking him, shouting for help. Jane pushes through. I'm a surgeon move. She hauls him up from behind, arms wrapping around like she's about to Heimlich an unconscious man. And my body moves without my permission. Stop, I shout. Everybody freezes. You do that, you'll crack his ribs and collapse a lung. I say, hearing my own voice go flat and professional like a switch flipped. Who are you? Jane snaps. I ignore her. Drop to my knees, tilt Malcolm's head. Check the airway. Feel the blockage bark for a pen. Break it apart. Mark the cricothyroid membrane on his neck like I've done it 100 times. Slice. Insert. Air rushes in. He gasps, color flooding back. The room erupts. Then the room stares. Because the scarred fish girl just performed an emergency cricothyrotomy with a ballpoint pen in a ballroom, while the board-certified surgeon watched. The ER doc later says, that maneuver saved his life. Where did you train? I didn't, I say, but we all hear the lie. Malcolm asks to see me. He studies my face carefully. What blood type are you, child? He asks. AB negative. He nods slowly. That's rare. He knows something. I feel it. That night, Greg finds me in a quiet hospital corridor. He looks tired, raw. There was someone, he says, before all this. Before my mom's bride parade. Her name was Daphne Hampton. She was a surgical resident. She saved my life after a wreck. I chased her for months. She finally let me in. 3 years ago, car accident. Her parents gone on impact. Her body never found. They presumed her dead. Something slots into place so hard I feel dizzy. Daphne, I repeat, and my head erupts. Crash. Ravine. My parents' faces, younger but unmistakable. Screaming metal. Waking in pain. Jane above me. Jane's voice spitting, you ruined everything. The glint of a knife. Falling again. Waking, empty. I stagger. Greg grabs me. What are you seeing? He demands. Pieces are flying now. That voice at the bus stop, that weird comfort with a scalpel, the way my hands knew exactly where to cut on Malcolm's throat. I whisper, terrified of saying it, I think I might be her. Here's your mid-video twist. Everything you thought this was about, the poor girl marrying rich for money, flips. We get a DNA test. Kenneth pulls my old hospital records under the name Unidentified Jane Doe. They cross-check with Daphne's residency files. Days bleed together. Greg hovers restless, grieving, and hoping at the same time. Results land. Jasmine Carter and Dr. Daphne Hampton are genetically identical. Kenneth says, voice sober, same person. It's like somebody lights up a room in my brain, and it's all wreckage and memories and lost time. I'm Daphne. I'm the surgeon, the heiress, the girl who reported her best friend for nearly killing a patient, the girl who loved Greg first. I'm also Jasmine, the fish vendor, the Carter's daughter, the one who showed up, broke and broken, and learned to live small. Now I have to reconcile the fact that my whole second-chance life is built on a lie Jane fed me to cover the crime she committed. If I'm her, I ask Greg, if I'm Daphne, what does that make us? It makes me the idiot who buried an empty coffin while you were out there alone, he says, eyes wet. And it makes you the woman I fell in love with twice. We decide we can't just walk into a police station with my trauma and call it a case. Recovered memories are fragile in court. We need Jane to expose herself, so we bait her. Headline goes out, presumed dead surgeon heiress Daphne Hampton confirmed alive to reclaim Hampton estate and open family vault. Stick around because what happened next will blow your mind. Jane sees the news. Losing her mind is an understatement. She'd been managing my estate, living in my house, quietly bleeding my accounts to pay off gambling debts and keep up her perfect life. Now I'm back. With DNA. With lawyers. With questions. Late that night, she sneaks into my father's study at the Hampton estate to destroy records. What she doesn't know is that we are already there. Me, Greg, Kenneth, two security guys watching from the doorway while she panics. Late night filing, I ask, stepping in. She jumps, clutching a stack of files. I was organizing, she stammers. Organizing my family's money into your accounts, I say, nodding at Kenneth to start recording. She tries to bluff, but guilt sits ugly on the face. The more I press, the more she cracks. You were supposed to stay dead. She spits, finally, voice shaking. I watched your car go into that ravine. Silence. You watched? I ask quietly. Why were you there, Jane? She realizes what she said. Backpedals. Too late. You cut the brakes, I say, and I believe it as I say it because the memory clicks in. Her eyes flash. You ruined my career. You chose the board over me. You were going to testify. You knew what they would do to me. So you decided to kill me, I ask, and my parents. It was supposed to scare you, she says, sobbing now. I didn't mean for them to die. I just wanted leverage. And then they were gone, and you were still breathing. And I panicked. And instead of calling 911, you picked up a knife. I say, voice calm and ice cold. And when I hit my head and forgot who I was, you rewrote me. She realizes Kenneth is still filming, realizes there is no way out, or thinks there isn't. She goes very still, then pulls a gun from her bag. Nobody is going to ruin my life again, she says, raising it. I should have finished you in that ravine. Time stretches. She fires. Greg moves. He steps in front of me, takes the bullet in the chest. People talk a lot of trash about rich men say what they won't do. Let me tell you what this one did. He jumped between me and a gun like it was scripted. He hits the floor. There's blood. Too much. Everything in me that is Daphne slams forward. I drop down, tear his shirt, apply pressure, bark orders. Kenneth and security tackle Jane, disarm her. Sirens shouting the metallic taste of fear. Greg, I say, leaning over him. Hey, stay with me. You're really loud, he manages. Good, that means you're still here. I say, hands steady even though I'm shaking everywhere else. You don't get to leave. Not now. At the hospital, he's rushed into surgery. I sign the consent forms as his wife, my hand smeared with his blood. They call Dr. Chen the best thoracic surgeon in the building, the same building where I once was the rising star and then vanished. Hours crawl. When she comes out and says, "He made it. Bullet missed his heart by 2 inches, we repaired the lung," my knees actually give out. Jane is arrested. Between the recording in the study, the gun, the forensic on the car, the stolen money, there isn't room for her usual tricks. At arraignment, her lawyer tries to posture, but she ends up pleading guilty to everything. Double murder for my parents, attempted murder of me and Greg, fraud, embezzlement. People ask me on the record, off the record, everywhere, "Do you forgive her?" Here's the part that makes some folks mad. No. I say I don't. Some things are unforgivable. But I am not dedicating the rest of my life to hating her either. I want the court to give her the maximum sentence because she is dangerous. And then I'm going back to work, to love, to living. Do you think that's fair? The vault opens a week later. It's like something out of a movie handprint retinal scan voice ID. The door hisses open. Inside are files, ledgers, jewelry, photos, and a letter with my name on it, in my father's handwriting, written long before any of this. He tells me if I'm reading it, they're gone. Tells me they're proud not because I'm smart, but because I'm kind. Says the Hampton money is mine, but it doesn't own me. Tells me I can be a surgeon or a fishmonger, or both, as long as I remember who I am. On the back of a wedding photo of him and my mom, my mother has written, "I hope you find a love as stubborn and good as ours." I look at Greg standing there with his healing scars and his stupid soft eyes, and I know I did. Our contract marriage is still technically valid, but that 6-month countdown doesn't make sense anymore. One night he's upright in a hospital bed, still pale, still all wires, and he takes my hand. "I meant it," he says, "before the bullet, before the vault. I want this to be real. No money, no deal, just us." "You're concussed," I tell him. "I fell in love with Dr. Daphne, who wouldn't let me buy her," he says. "Then I fell in love with Jasmine, who wouldn't take my money. Now that I know you're both, I would be an idiot to let you go." He's not wrong. 2 months later, under the oak tree at Piedmont Park, where we used to sit back when I was only Daphne, and he was just some stubborn patient who wouldn't stop flirting, we get married again for real. No secrets this time. The Carters sit in the front row next to the Daniels family. Malcolm is officiating. Patricia actually smiles at me like a mom who decided to lay down her armor. DeAndre's filming everything on his phone, swearing he's going to edit it like a movie trailer. I walk down the aisle in my mom's dress, my scar showing my head high. In my vows, I tell him about the girl who woke up blank and the woman who came back whole. I thought I had to choose one life. I say, voice shaking, but I don't. I'm both, and you loved both. So I promise to love you with every version of me, to call you out when you're being dramatic, to keep selling fish on Saturdays, even if you think it's ridiculous, and to never ever let you jump in front of a bullet again. "Can't promise I won't try," he says when it's his turn. "I promise to stop my mother when she forgets you're human and not a headline to fund every crazy clinic idea you have, and to remember that you don't belong to my world or my name. You belong with me on your own terms." We kiss. No visions this time. Just home. Months later, this is my life. 3 days a week, I'm back in an OR as Dr. Hampton hands steady over open chests, teaching residents the same way someone once taught me. 2 days a week, I run a free clinic on the east side under the Hampton Foundation, where nobody cares what car you drove in. On Saturdays, I'm at West Side Market with Carter's fish fry, shoulder to shoulder with Big Joe, yelling prices, smelling like grease again. People recognize me now. "Aren't you that billionaire's wife? Aren't you that heiress surgeon?" And I'm standing there in rubber boots with a knife in my hand saying, "I'm Daphne. You want catfish or tilapia?" We moved my parents, all of them, into comfort without fanfare. The Carter house is paid off. DeAndre's at Georgia Tech on a scholarship the foundation just happens to fund. Patricia stopped interviewing debutantes. Malcolm sends me texts before every checkup. Greg splits his time between boardrooms and the clinic, writing checks and wiping tables like both jobs matter. And Jane, she sits where she put herself. Somewhere with bars and fluorescent lights, plenty of time to think about the moment she decided her pride was worth more than 3 lives. Here's the part that stirs people up, and I want to hear you on this. Some say I should have forgiven her. Really forgiven, visited her, held her hand, used my influence to soften the sentence. Some say I'm a hypocrite for ever taking Greg's deal that marrying for money, even with conditions, makes me part of the same system that almost destroyed me. Some twist it into a neat moral, see if you're pure enough, rich men will save you, everything will work out. That's not what happened. Here's what I believe, and you can fight me in the comments if you want to. You don't owe grace to the person who tried to end you. You do owe honesty to yourself and the people who never left. You can love someone and still hold them accountable. You can accept help without being owned. You can choose survival in a messy way and still be a good person. You do not have to pick one identity because other people are more comfortable with simple labels. I am the surgeon and the fish seller, the heiress and the foster daughter, the girl in the red file and the woman in the green dress. I get to be all of them. So do you. Now I want to hear from you. If it were you on that roadside, would you have questioned the story they gave you, or grabbed it with both hands just to breathe? If you were sitting in that courtroom, would you have forgiven Jane? Do you think I was wrong to take Greg's offer in the first place, even knowing what I know now? Tell me in the comments. Disagree with me, call me out. Share your own story if someone ever tried to write your life for you, or if you had to rebuild yourself from nothing. And if this hit you anywhere in your chest, share it with one person who needs to be reminded they are more than what was done to them. Hit, like if you stayed to the end, subscribe. If you want more real stories, told messy and honest, not fairy tale clean. And remember this before you scroll, you are allowed to be many things. You are allowed to choose yourself, and you are absolutely allowed to survive in ways that make other people uncomfortable.